It's time to bust out the onions because I'm going to show you how to make restaurant quality French onion soup. Okay, friends, we are making French onion soup for a fraction, literally a fraction of what it costs at the restaurant. I'm obsessed with French onion soup. I love getting it at a restaurant, but then when I realized how I can make it so cheap at home, I make it at home and I love it, and I know you're gonna love this recipe. Now, my name is Carrie with eatingonadime.com. We're all about helping families eat well on a budget, and this recipe does just that. It's gonna taste like a chef made it, but you made it just on your stovetop. And you can find the full recipe linked in the description below, or you can always go to eatingonadime.com and just search French onion soup and it will pull right up for you. First things first, you need your onions. We are using yellow onions today, and while a lot of times I tell you you can swap them out, stick with the yellow onions for this recipe. It is what traditional French onion soup is made out of. It has a delicious flavor, and while you can make it with other onions, these just beat, and they're always cheaper. Now we're gonna start off with 4 to 5 large onions. I couldn't find large onions. As you can see, these are pretty small, but you're gonna need about 2 pounds. So 2 pounds is the magic number. So it's okay if you're having to do smaller ones, but we are going to thinly slice these up, and it really doesn't matter how you slice them. You just want them sliced up because we're going to caramelize them and make them taste amazing. So I'm going to cut off the ends and then peel off the skin. Now go ahead and get all the peels off all the onions. And the reason I think that's important, since we're using a lot, that way we can get all this cleaned up before we slice them, because you don't want any of these little pieces in your soup. Sounds silly to say, but it's a good little tip to just make sure you have, if you're gonna put all this effort out to make a yummy soup, let's make it right. Okay, I got all of the skins, I don't know what it's called, the peels, all washed away, cleaned up the knife because they'll be stuck, and then we're gonna cut these into rings. So just into slices, and it really doesn't matter how thick or how thin you do them at. And then you're just gonna break them apart after you've cut them into slices, just by pushing your fingers down the middle, and the rings will break apart. Now, if you break a ring, it's okay, because we're not making onion rings here, but I do like cutting them into the slices because that's what you traditionally do in a French onion soup. But if you're gonna cut them in half and then in slices, I'm not gonna judge you. I just wanted to show you, you just push in the middle gently, and then the onions fall apart. So don't stress too much. Like, see how that one's a lot bigger than this one? It's really not a big deal. But you're just cutting them into rings, about a ½ inch thick. But again, that's not really that important because they're gonna cook down. Once you wipe away all the tears, you are ready to head to the stove. That's the worst part about this, is the onions making you emotional. But if you can go past that, you can make this amazing recipe. In a large stock pot, melt 4 tablespoons of butter over medium-high heat. Once the butter is nice and melted, go ahead and add those sliced onions to the pan and stir them around. I just like to get a little butter over all of those onions, but don't stress about it too much. Now we're gonna let this cook for about 30 minutes over medium heat. So I'm gonna turn my heat down, and we're gonna come back and stir this every 3 to 5 minutes until these onions are nice and caramelized. And I'm gonna show you through the way, so that way you'll know exactly what it means for caramelized onions, because it takes a little bit longer than what you would think, but it brings out so much flavor and worth the wait. It's been about 5 minutes, so I just wanted to show you. See, it's okay. They're still, they're starting to soften, but they're still kind of crunchy, and that's okay. And we just will come over here and just make sure nothing's burning on the bottom, and then we'll come back in a few more minutes. Okay, we're at the 10-minute check. So as you can see, they're getting much softer, and now we're going to start seeing it caramelize. So we will check back in another 5 minutes, and I'll show you an update, and hopefully this is helpful, just showing you like the process. So as you're cooking these and you're like, Carrie, this is taking longer, you'll know exactly. So hopefully this helps you out. Let me know in the comments if this is helpful. It's been 15 minutes, and as you can see, we're starting to get some brown bits, which is exciting, and these are getting really soft. So just a quick stir to make sure nothing's burning. As you can see, some of the onions are getting some nice color, and so we want to move them around to make sure everything gets color, and then we're just going to let them keep cooking. Okay, they look beautiful. So we are ready. They are nice and brown. Now, I really like it when I thinly slice my onions, and so a couple of these are a little thicker than I like, but it's still going to be delicious. So don't panic, and don't worry about all this stuff on the bottom, because we're going to deglaze the pan and get all that goodness up in the soup. Now that the onions are cooked through, we're going to go ahead and add about 3 cloves of garlic minced, or 3 teaspoons of minced garlic. I'm using the pre-minced today. Just going to mix it around. And then we are going to add 4 tablespoons, or about 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Now this is going to act as a thickening agent. We are going to cook these together for 1 minute. So basically the butter that was in that pan is going to help cook this flour. So when we add the broth, it will help thicken it and also have amazing flavor. Then you're going to add 1 cup of dry white wine, or like a white cooking wine. We're going to take the bottom of the spoon, or the edge of the spoon, and we are going to deglaze the pan. So we make sure that we turn that up, and we just start scraping the bottom and even the sides and getting all that goodness. All that is technically seasonings, which will make your soup even better. And we're gonna get it all up off the bottom of the pan and mix it together. I wanted to show you up close by what I mean. See how all of that on the bottom is coming up? So you just keep mixing it while you're cooking it over medium-high heat. See how everything's coming off the sides? And every little bit that you get off will just add more flavor to your soup. Then we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire Sauce. Hopefully I said that right. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Stir that together. Oh, that's already smelling so good. Then we are going to add 6 cups of beef broth. So I have 2 cups here. And then I'm adding a carton, which is also 4 cups. I highly recommend you use broth in this recipe, or like a bouillon. Just using water, you're really going to miss out on some of the flavor. And then we're going to add in 1 bay leaf and stir to combine. As you can see, it's already starting to look like a French onion soup. Ooh, that already smells so good. Now I'm turning the heat back up to high, and we're going to bring this to a boil. Once your soup has come to a boil, go ahead and add the lid and reduce the heat down, and we're going to let this simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. While that's simmering, let's go ahead and get our baguettes ready. You're going to need a large baguette. Mine broke. Hopefully yours isn't broken, but it's still edible. Then we're going to take like a bread knife. A bread knife is basically a long knife that has these jagged edges. And then you're just going to cut your baguettes about 1 inch thick, because you want them, remember, these are going to sit on top of the soup. If you've had a French onion soup, you're going to put that on top, and then with the cheese. So you want it nice and thick. Well, I say thick, but like 1 inch thick. So that way it doesn't just crumble in your soup. You want it to be, sturdy and hearty and soak up all that yummy flavors. I think I was explaining it a little passionately for you guys, but I'm serious about my soup. So you're going to see how they're just lay like this, and we're going to put this on a baking sheet. I just put a parchment paper on there. I love these parchment sheets, and we'll link those for you because I'm a big fan, just for easy cleanup. Now, some recipes, if you look, you'll see people tell you to butter the baguette. I don't think you need the extra calories, and I didn't find that it was needed. I actually just prefer it regular baked, because you got to remember, we are about to top this with so much cheese, gooey meltedness, that let's save the calories for the cheese. Let me know in the comments, do you agree? I'm all about cheese. I'm just cutting off these broken pieces. I'm just going to eat those off camera. Because if you are toasting baguettes and you don't put any pieces in your mouth, are you even cooking? Let me know. So I preheated the oven to 400 degrees, and then we're gonna bake these for about 5 to 10 minutes until they get nice and crispy. And I'll show you what that looks like. While we're letting that get nice and toasty, let's shred our Gruyere cheese. I always feel like I looked it up to make sure I'm saying it right. So if I'm not, let me know in the comments, because you know, this cheese is amazing. Gruyere cheese, look in the recipe so you'll know how to spell it. You'll find it in the specialty section, and you need at least 6 ounces. Our block today is 7 ounces, and we're gonna use every bit of it, because when I say you need at least 6 ounces, you need that cheesy, gooey topping. Now, you can substitute with any white cheese. Mozzarella would be great. Swiss is also really great. And if you can get it in slices, you can slice it as well. Either one will work, because remember, we're gonna let this melt all over the top of that soup. It's gonna be so good. I personally like the shredded, because now when I say shredded, I mean I'm hand shredding it, because I feel like it's easier to like separate with your spoon, but that's just my personal preference. I don't know if you've ever gone to a restaurant and you've gotten French onion soup and you like can't get through the cheese. It's like a slice right on top. So this is my personal preference, but you do you. I'm not gonna be mad at you. Or am I? No, I'm not gonna be mad. Don't forget to taste test the cheese, because you don't want to poison your family, right? You got to make sure it's good. Okay, while I was finishing that up, the bread got finished. And this is what I mean by toasty. Like, it's not going to be like perfectly brown because we didn't butter it, but they're just harder to touch. That way they have more firmness to soak up all that goodness. Now all that we have left is to assemble, guys. I'm so excited. My soup is done simmering, so the only thing you have left to do is we just need to get out that bay leaf. Now we just gotta fill up our bowls. Now my bowls are pretty big, but tell me they are not adorable. We got them on Amazon. They are perfect for this. You just wanna make sure you're doing bowls that are oven safe, because we're throwing these in the oven. Okay, well, we're gonna broil them, but so it's a very high heat, so you wanna make sure that your bowls can do that. Another way to skip that, if you don't have bowls you can do that, is you can actually throw this cheese directly onto your baguettes, onto your pan, set it to broil, and then you can just set these on top. So it's like a lazy way to get around it, so you don't have to buy, it's not lazy, it's just another version, so you don't have to buy special bowls. But tell me my chili isn't gonna taste better out of this bowl this winter. Like, hello. Everything tastes better out of a cute bowl. So we're gonna fill this up. I think I need one more scoop. I like to use a soup ladle. I'm gonna do the other one. And remember, everything that we're using in this video, we include all the links in the description. Not that you have to buy anything. We try to make all our recipes with things that you don't have to buy. So just like, even though you could buy these bowls, you know, we gave you an option where you don't have to. But I mean, seriously, look how cute they are. Once you have your bowls filled up, you're gonna go ahead and put 2 baguettes, or at least to fill your bowl. If you have a smaller bowl, you can just throw in 1, or if you want extra bread, you can do 3. Nobody is going to be judging you. And you guys know everything is better with the crusty bread on top. I decided to actually go back and add bread because as I was talking about the crustiness, I just wanted more. But that's just me, since these bowls are so much bigger than usual. This recipe serves 6 people because French onion soup is usually not a huge serving. But if you're wanting big servings, I would say it would serve closer to 4 people. But look at that, we're gonna put this right on top. Don't skip on the cheese, friends. Before we head to the oven, I want to give you a few tips. I'm only making 3 right now because that's all that we're eating. This reheats amazing, but you don't want to cook it with the cheese and the bread because when it reheats, that bread's going to be super soggy. So you just store these leftover and your cheese. So that way all you got to do is throw this in a bowl, heat it up, top it with your bread and cheese, and it tastes like it's fresh. So you can make a double batch of this because you're already doing the work, and freeze the leftovers, and you can have French onion soup whenever you want, and it'll take faster than opening a can of soup and heating it up. And it'll be straight from the freezer, but it'll be homemade and so inexpensive to make. Okay, so my other tip would be, before you head to the oven, put these on top of a cookie sheet. You don't have to, but if you think about having to take these out individually, it's kind of annoying, especially if you end up with a smaller one. So we're gonna just put these on top of the cookie sheet. We're gonna head to the oven and I'm gonna broil these for just a few minutes until that cheese is nice and golden and melty. Okay, so it just took 2 minutes and look how gooey and delicious these look. Ooh, they're ready to eat. Now it's time for my favorite part, eating it. Okay, I already took a bite, friends. And when I say this is the best tasting French onion soup, I'm not lying. I have had French onion soup at multiple fancy restaurants, and this recipe beats them all of them. Like it's so easy, it's so delicious, but I'm just gonna show you. I'm gonna take a little bite. I like to dunk the bread. Another little tip I like to tell you guys is, these bowls are hot, so serve them on a plate so that way you can carry them around by the plate. So just a little tip from the pros. I don't know, that sounded like a good idea. Okay, let's go in nice and spicy hot. Let's see. It's so good. And see, what's so great about that crusty bread is it gets nice and soft in the soup, but it's not soggy and mushy. And I'll have to show you an up close video, but it's just so perfect. Like, there's not too much cheese. It's the perfect amount of cheese. I love that it's shredded. Friends, go make this right now, and make sure after you do, you leave a review on our site, because it's a new recipe and I really want you to give it, like, you can give all of our recipes up to a 5-star review and drop a comment. And that's the best way for us to hear from you, because we check our comments every single day. It's our #1 favorite thing to do, and we love hearing from you, friends. So good. The caramelized onions are just so perfectly sweet. It's shocking because if you remember, the ingredients are very simple in this recipe. It's just a matter of getting those onions caramelized. So if you can, like, watch a pot, you can make this recipe. So you can make something fancy, and think about, like, when the holidays come, how fun. You could have little small ones, and when people come over, they can have a little appetizer and they would just love it, and you would feel so fancy, but it took you hardly any money and hardly any work. So, okay, friends, I'm out of here. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe, and I hope we showed that you can have fancy food at home without going broke and without spending the entire day. Okay, thanks so much for joining me, guys. I will see you next time in my kitchen for another family-friendly recipe. But in the meantime, don't forget to eat at home by eating on a dime. Bye, friends.